Have you ever purchased from companies like Gap, H&M, Old Navy, or Zara? If the answer is yes, then you have contributed to the unethical industry that is fast fashion. The purpose of my speech is to persuade the audience not to participate in the fast fashion industry. As people, we have a moral obligation to buy from companies that ethically source their labor and items. The instant gratification and low pricing within this industry are very tempting. However, purchasing from these companies is terrible for mankind in the long run. Particularly, I will be discussing how the fast fashion industry contributes to sweatshop labor, planet pollution, and plagiarism. First, I will describe how the fast fashion industry increases the demand for sweatshop labor. In the fashion industry, there's a constant push to stay on trend. However, with 52 micro seasons per year, this industry makes its own goal unattainable. So, how do these companies create an illusion of staying on trend while creating cheap clothing for their consumers? Well, the answer is very simple. According to the Green Business Network's article called Factory Exploitation in the Fast Fashion Machine, these big retailers have no role in the production of their products. Instead, they outsource vendor firms in developing countries to manufacture the products for them. These vendor firms are called Tier 1 companies, and they have no direct affiliation with the big retailers they manufacture for. I already know what you're thinking. Well, what makes that so unethical? This practice is unethical because it creates a void of accountability for the big companies employing these vendor firms. Because they have no direct affiliation with the vendors, they have no obligation to regulate working conditions for the lower ranks in these Tier 1 companies. Without regulation, the workers are prone to exploitation. Moreover, they uphold this system by employing Tier 1 workers on short-term contracts. Not only do these contracts create fear of termination in the workers, but they make them extremely unlikely to file a complaint if they experience exploitation. If a worker were to file a complaint, they would be fired quickly and they would be blacklisted from all Tier 1 companies in the area. Now that you understand how the fast fashion industry promotes sweatshop labor, I will now discuss the ways in which the fast fashion industry is killing our planet. What makes the fast fashion industry so fast? Well, it gets its name from its lightning fast production speeds. This industry is able to hop on a trend and get it to its consumers within a matter of weeks at a good bargain. While this might quench your thirst for mass consumerism, it's terrible for our planet. As you already know, these big retailers employ vendor firms that are in developing countries. In Jill DiDonato's article called "Why is Fast Fashion Killing Killing the Planet and Your Ethics?" she explains that these developing countries are largely relying on coal as a source of electricity. The amount of coal power needed to fuel this fast-paced industry is exponential. On average, 150 billion pieces of clothing are mass-produced each year. This not only creates a bad carbon footprint, but it also helps the apparel industry to account for 10% of all carbon emissions globally. Further, the mass production of these clothing items makes them extremely low quality. According to a sustainability group called EcoAge, the fast fashion clothing item has little to no lifespan. On average, a customer will wear the item less than 5 times, and within 35 days, the item will no longer be in their wardrobe. Where do these items go? According to an article called by 7 billion for 7 C's called Fast Fashion Facts, which you need to know, 85% of these clothing items will end up in a landfill. One might propose, well, we can just recycle the clothing, right? Wrong. Only about 1% of textile waste is actually recyclable. That is because most of the clothing that we wear today is made from blended fibers, which are extremely difficult to recycle. Now that you know how negatively the fast fashion industry impacts our planet, I will now describe the creative blockages caused by this industry. Plagiarism. When we think about plagiarism, we usually associate it with writing. However, this issue runs rampant in the fast fashion industry as well. In the luxury fashion industry, designers are encouraged to gather inspiration, but the line between that and plagiarism is very thin. Unfortunately, those luxury items are not accessible to the general population. According to Farouz French's article called Fast Fashion and the Plagiarism of Independent Designers, fast fashion retailers will closely replicate the items to get the luxury feel by using cheap fabrics and techniques. In Shea Claire's article titled Plagiarism in Fast Fashion and How It Contributes to the Waste, she acknowledges that consumers are at fault as well, because we are constantly feeding into the idea that we need every new trending clothing item when all we are doing is contributing to the waste. On the other side of that coin, these fast fashion retailers have been found guilty of stealing designs from independent artists as well. This situation is even more predatory because these fast fashion retailers are able to gain large sums of money off of a small business's ideas. This situation also makes these independent artists hesitant to post their work on social media because they don't want to be exploited. In closing, I wanted to show you the disadvantages of the fast fashion industry. In particular, I described how the fast fashion industry promotes sweatshop labor, killing our planet, and plagiarism. I hope this information makes you think twice about putting your money into the fast fashion industry. Moreover, shopping at an ethical and sustainable business will benefit you as well. The planet and your wallet will thank you.